Hi Gemini, here is a general look at your solar chart for August 2014. Now, at the end of last month, Mars moved, and you will be just getting comfortable with that unless you're listening to this earlier than the 25th of July. So you've still got that to come, but also Jupiter moved, and those are two significant moves in two different sorts of ways. So first of all, probably you'll be learning a lot of new stuff over this next 12 months simply because of the position of Jupiter in your house of learning. It's also in your house of communication, so some of you might be learning how to communicate in a different kind of a way. You will be learning to listen in a different kind of a way, maybe. There will be new territories being carved into your mental landscape. It's a very good position for any kind of talk therapy, any kind of creative self-expression. And that Jupiter transit is actually in your solar favorite house. So that's the third house of your solar chart. And then we have to couple that with the move of Mars. Now, Mars has joined that old plodder Saturn. Saturn is going through this long transit, started in October 2012, due to end, all but damn it, at the end of this year, through your house of work, really. It's your house of work. It's also your house of strings to your bow. It's also your area of health matters. Now, the Jupiter in if your sign is such has such a strong mind that sometimes a health concern might be feeling a bit down in the dumps or outright depressed, and that is a Gemini thing. It's quite often a Sagittarian thing as well, which is the opposite sign, and it's simply because the mind just gets too much control, and then we believe what the stressful thoughts that the mind's telling us, and in fact it runs the body down, and then our energies turn inwards, and various things happen, and then we can get depressed. Now, this move of Jupiter into this house of the zodiac that happened on the 16th of July is definitely very upbeat, and it will tend to support a positive frame of mind. So that's the good news. The Mars move into the same house as Saturn has been in is going to kind of stir him. It's a bit like putting a stick in a hornet's nest in a way, although Saturn is kind of more it's not as reactionary as a hornet's nest. So Saturn there has been putting demands in your path as life shows up and says, okay, your to-do list is growing and growing and growing because there's this person's affairs to think about, there's that project or property to think about, there's there are there's many more repairs, maintenance, that kind of thing, and catching up with the paperwork to think about, but also with work. You know, there could be a heavier workload. You could have chosen that because you're trying to feed the piggy bank a bit more. So whatever the reason, but with Mars coming in here, it does mean that things will get busier. Now, one thing about when Mars and Saturn comes together is they're quite sort of reminiscent of an army marching. They're very, even though it's a huge energy coming from Mars and drive, and it's very target orientated, Saturn likes discipline. Saturn likes method. Saturn likes to be efficient. Saturn likes to be steady as you go. So it's a bit like a military kind of, you know, keeping in step, doing things in this regular, not particularly inspired or flamboyant kind of a way. It's just getting on with it, following almost like the book, you know, following the instructions in a way. and they can be your own instructions, you know, but Mars likes to have its head. Mars likes to take the initiative. Mars likes to make a decision and then follow up with an action. Saturn likes to be very thorough and slow and cautious. So, as I say, you put the two of these together, it's very target orientated, an army. It's reminiscent of an army. Then you shouldn't go too wrong, really, if you understand that. And the transit of Mars, by the way, isn't anything like as long as the transit of Saturn. Mars comes out of there mid-September. So there's that for you to know, which tends to put a different complexion on things. The move of Jupiter coming into one of its actually favorite places in the zodiac just supports a more it really does support all things Geminian, I have to say. You know, your curiosity, your inquisitiveness, your urge for connectivity, you know, what's going on here, what's going on there, and getting to know people, making contacts. So some of you might be in a new place, and it's also to do with learning, you know, the jargon, learning the idioms, learning the sort of the language, you know, and getting the knowledge. So yes, it can be used. This transit can be used in lots of different ways. Also, it can mean that you are journeying more. That can be inwardly, of course, but it can also mean outwardly, like taking more trips and shooting off all over the place, which again is kind of a Gemini thing. Now, those things there are sort of on a longer and maybe a little bit deeper level than the relatively swift and more surface level of the Sun, Mercury and Venus, which I'm going to go on to now. So until the 23rd, the Sun is in a very sociable Geminian type area, very chatty, meeting and greeting, finding out stuff, sharing information, you know, striking up conversations with people because you need to know, maybe using the internet more, maybe sorting out, getting your head around paperwork. Some of it, you know, you don't really want to have to do, but hey, you've got to do it. Because of the background vibe of Mars and Saturn, which is saying work harder. It could even be the Mars and Saturn one, you know, getting you to do like a major load of work. But there is a certain heaviness to it, a certain routineness to it, that Mars and Saturn. I've just gone back to that for a moment. Because Saturn's insistence on seeking out the weak points, seeking out the cracks, and then exerting pressure on what's weak, vulnerable, fragile, broken even, and then just pressing on it so that you do something about it, to fix it, repair it, by understanding or whatever kind of way, and that is work and health. So to get back to the Sun, so there is that background vibe of the Mars-Saturn thing going on. Yeah, schedules, plans, itineraries, that kind of thing maybe as well there. And also, you know, making sure that others understand you and you understand them. On the 7th, well, that's a day when there might be more demand on you to be selfless, to help out, but also if there isn't anything like that happening, then definitely a day for you to be giving yourself more support and doing something nice for yourself. And also the dreamer in you awakes, that Rip Van Winkle starts to sort of come alive there. Might be the day is either side a little bit as well, but the 7th is when the energy or the vibration is right in the middle of the note, as it were. And this is the day that you could work with visualization to manifest something that's just kind of bubbling up in the back of your mind, or indeed with the law of attraction or something like that. So perhaps not the day to go to the dentist, although Neptune, which is party to this energy on the 7th, does actually rule anesthetics. Now, you'll have to push a bit harder on the 8th and the 9th. You'll have to be more determined there, more consistent there. And also there is a kind of interesting wave of energy coming across onto the sun in that day too, on that day too. Bit of a surprise there. Could be a surprise meeting, could be something coming, you know, a message or in the mail or the post that's a surprise. Don't know really, but being, you know, pushing through, but then that inspirational, oh, wasn't expecting, oh, that's interesting, you know, that kind of thing. But still, you know, stick with being determined, because actually, particularly on the 8th, although I would say the 8th and 9th, particularly on the 8th, the energies are a bit choppy there. Now, your ruling planet is in the same area as the sun, so ditto really for what I was saying about it's a chatty area, it's for making connections. Increased interchanges through speaking and writing are likely. Also great for education, great for learning stuff, great for you being the teacher, you know, and sharing, and just make sure if you're sourcing information that it's coming from a sound, reliable source, because there's so much information flying around these days. So you might get the wrong end of the stick, or you might just get, you know, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And especially you early Geminians, I have to say, those of you born in the first 10 days or with 6 to 8 degrees of Gemini rising. Just, you know, get a second opinion. Consult with somebody who wasn't born in the first 10 days of any of the mutable signs. That's Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. Trust me, I'm an astrologer. Right. Okay. So, and then from the 16th, discussions could revolve around family, place on the map. It could be property as well. It could be to do with the past also. You could be very much bouncing ideas around about a space, a physical space, or mulling things over, if it is about the past, or maybe about your, because you like to feel more sensitive there, starting to feel a little bit more sensitive there. So it could be you feeling nostalgic about something, you feeling emotional about somebody or something. And there could be more communications with those you've known for a long time, or with family, or maybe you're considering a legacy of some kind, a tradition of some kind. You know, it just might mean that it's easier for somebody to touch a nerve with, and then you get your worry guts thing going. Because again, your sign is known for its, simply because of the mind being so strong, sort of being a bit fretful sometimes, okay? So you need to deliberately put yourself in places or environments which relax your mind, and of course mindfulness and meditation, that would be good. Music and whatever else, you know, where you can just kind of let go of those wheels that are, just go round and round and round, and really it is only your mind, it is not you. Read the book by Dr. Eben Alexander, or just watch the interview on YouTube. That is my little sort of attempt in a nutshell to show to you that even a brain surgeon has realized that the mind is really quite a small thing compared to what real consciousness is and real knowing is. So anyway, all I'm trying to say is that the mind in a Geminian can run them ragged. It's always important to take vitamin B complex, by the way, as well, because your sign rules the nervous system. But anyway, I digress. So try to avoid major decisions on the 18th and 19th, because there as well there may be information that you haven't quite grasped, or is even being held away from you, possibly, or that you're just not seeing straight on those 2 days there, more likely anyway. Now, until the 12th, Venus is in an area concerning money, property, possessions, basic stuff, food on the table, roof over the head, money, money on the table. And it could be about buying, selling, renting, leasing. But with Venus there, you probably won't do as badly as you fear. Or you can be a bit, over the top with what you think, might stretch yourself a bit. But as long as you understand that's a bit of a pitfall, it's not a major one. So you could do better in whatever financial way, property way, just to do with getting yourself a good deal, really. The cards are more stacked in your favor there. And then from the 12th, Venus comes into the same area as the Sun. This very chatty, Geminian area, lots of exchanges with others, you finding out loads, but also more entertainment is likely, more environments which are fun or distracting or beautiful. Hearing things that you like, but also coming out with things to others and feeling okay about saying certain positive, warm, intimate, friendly, loving things to others. And this is also the area of the arts, so it does underpin very nicely creative imagination and self-expression. And then the Sun will be moving on the 23rd. I should just mention a little bit more about Mars. Because Mars's contentious nature, there could be a cross sword or two with service providers, or somebody's working for you temporarily or long term, or just helping you out, health providers, that kind of thing. But also, on the other hand, if Mars, again, is in the middle of the note, as it were, with his vibration, then this can be a productive time when results can be delivered either through your efforts or through, enlisting the help of somebody else, and you can feel quite proud. But remember to think more independently, because Mars is a self-starter. Mars likes to do things his own way in the area of the job, health, and also just daily chores, really. So the Sun is moving on the 23rd, and then that comes more into a more serene, quiet area at the root of your chart, to do with family, to do with property again, and maybe a venue, maybe a space that you're in which is maybe not your home even, and a neighborhood. Yes, there's a lot about, in your own backyard, or not your own backyard, but in a sort of a space somewhere, and being interested and inquisitive about the surroundings, perhaps. Yes, and you taking things in, you very much sucking things in like a sponge there, more from the 21st. And there's a lovely energy around on the 25th onto your Venus, and this means that you could be quite surprised at how well you do in a material sort of sense, perhaps around that day there. Again, the vibration is in the middle of the note on the 25th. And on the 29th, take some downtime. That's a good time for you to be feeding your soul. And that's it for August. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also, if you want to check out anything without the lame jokes, then you will find this text written up on my website. And I wish you well, and I'll see you the next time.